And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes with the official Who Would Win. We had the special birthday one yesterday. And, I always say, it's like, hey, why did I do this one? Because someone suggested it, and yet someone still commented, like, really? Why are you even doing this? I was like, did you not watch the video? Like, it's clear. Someone just commented on it because they saw the matchup without watching the video. Anyway, this comes to us from Nolan Jarrett, who asked the question, who would win in a fight, Punisher or John Rambo? I'm surprised I couldn't find anyone else who suggested this. But John Rambo was I believe he's I believe he's a Korean war vet. He's not a Vietnam war vet. When he came home in First Blood, the whole First Blood is actually a commentary on how we treat our vets. And there I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Here I can't hold a job, pumping gas. That line. What's your war? You asked me, I didn't ask you. But as such, he is extremely trained, particularly effective in guerrilla warfare. He can basically booby trap an entire area of forest as long as he's directing you in the right way. You're talking about a man skilled with guns, with tanks, with explosives. You're telling me that 300 of our guys against your guys, a no-win situation for us, you bring that many guys. You better have one good thing. Good supply of body bags. It's a good movie, First Blood. The rest of the Rambo series gets a little iffy. Some of them are better than others, like John Rambo, the fourth one, where he's older. Not Rambo Last Blood, but he's older. That one's pretty good, from what I understand. The second and the third, me. And the third one, the fifth one, Last Blood, not the best, if we're gonna be frank. But because he's also in pretty good shape. Obviously, we're looking at him at his peak, not his Last Blood, where he had to be on medication. My guess is the medication was actually for like PTSD and all that, but not like blood pressure, surprisingly. But yeah, I mean, he's a skilled fighter. He's a skilled soldier. He's just dangerous. Frank Castle, if you know the Punisher, you know the story. He was an ex-Marine, and he came home. His family was killed by drug lords, although not drug lords, organized crime killed his family. And even in like the TV series, that's technically true, because they've got people who killed his family in the TV series. They used to be his friends and all that, but at the same time, they were in business for crime. And, he made his duty to clean up the streets his own way. As a trained Marine, he's a skilled hand-to-hand combatant, able to actually go toe-to-toe with some of the higher-ups in the Marvel echelon of fighters. Although, he's far from, like, the most skilled fighter. Like, someone like Captain America can beat his ass. Iron Fist can beat his ass. When you talk about, like, the top-tier Marvel hand-to-hand fighters, oh, no, Frank's nowhere near up there. But he's probably not even in the second tier, but he is probably like in the third tier, which is like, the very skilled, trained fighters who've got hand-to-hand skills. Then you get like the people who are master martial artists, and then you get like the top tier who are like the end-all, be-all. Very few can beat these guys in a straight-on one-on-one fight with no superpowers kind of guys. Frank's probably in the third tier, but he's still a skilled fighter. He's a beast physically. He's usually in peak condition. He wears body armor that can, usually stop small on fire and resist, higher caliber weapons. Only like anti-tank could probably really just blow through that without any too much difficulty. Stop a knife if he needs to. Usually carries knives, explosives, however many, firearms he has on him. He usually carries that on him generally at all times. Frank's a very skilled tactician as well. He knows how to set up a kill box. He knows how to set up his opponent. He is overall just an extremely, capable fighter and capable, killer. So if these two meet in combat, who's going to win? Because it is actually a question. In a scenario where one is able to set up a plan on the other, if in a scenario where Frank sets up, a kind of, trap for Rambo, Rambo's screwed. Rambo's screwed, especially because Frank's the kind of guy who would set up like gun turrets in buildings just to take out his opponent. And Rambo, while he's got a keen battle sense, no, he would not survive a trap set by Frank. The question also though becomes, can Frank survive a trap set by Rambo? Because Rambo's real forte is in guerrilla warfare, setting up traps and all that stuff, and then taking someone out from, hiding it behind a tree and just like that. Would Frank be more susceptible to Rambo's traps than Rambo is to his? And I will say it's probably not as likely that Rambo could get the one over on Frank, because Frank A comes into this more heavily armored, more readily prepared with more stuff under his belt. So like the punji sticks you get in the first one that he well, not the punji sticks, but the spiked it's not a log. What was it? He basically did like a triple log spikes. Basically, came in and stabbed a guy in the leg. Frank has the reflexes to avoid that, fortunately. And even if it hit him, he usually wears such a body armor that it probably wouldn't pierce him as much. And this is a man who can power through a lot of stuff. This guy who's died and come back is Frank and Stein. So yeah, this is a guy who can power through a lot of shit. I mean, Rambo can too, but I do think the pain tolerance on Frank is a bit higher. But I think Frank, even though he could be tripped up by Rambo, would be less susceptible to Rambo's traps than Rambo is to Frank's just layout. Plus, Rambo is a more guerrilla fighter tactician. Although he's got a military tacticianary mind. That word makes sense, tacticianary. Making up words for the dictionary. Frank has the tactical experience of a Marine, whereas we don't actually know if Rambo was just in the Army or if he was a Marine. I don't think so. I don't think he was a Marine, but I could be wrong on that. Anyway, though, that's if they both planned out something. If they're both meeting on equal ground, there's going to be a lot of gunfire. Eventually, it comes, and I can't decide whether or not someone's going to win from gunfire because either of them could get a headshot and kill the other. I will say, though, again, Frank is more heavily armored, so in a straight-out gunfight, Frank's going to have the edge because he's going to be able to take more hits if they actually hit his body than if they hit Rambo, who doesn't come in there with body armor. But that said, it really comes to, again, anyone. It's kind of like the whole Bullseye versus Deadshot. No, excuse me. The John Wick versus Jason Bourne or Agent 47 debate. It's like, well, Agent 47 is just going to snipe him from afar, and there's the game. Like, you realize that Agent 47 is not immune to that either, and therefore John could do the exact same thing. Therefore, it's not a fight. We're talking about a versus scenario where these two actually have to meet in combat. So after most of the bullets are fired, they both probably have a handgun, but it's going into a hand-to-hand scenario. The question now becomes, who wants it more, who's going to survive? And I will say that Rambo's survival instinct is probably a bit higher than Frank's. Not to say that Frank's is weak by any stretch of the means, but it's kind of similar to like John Wick versus Punisher. John Wick is sheer effing willpower. John Rambo is a little similar in many ways. He's actually fighting to survive, whereas Frank's just fighting to kill him. And I think there's a big difference in the mentality where when you're fighting to survive, you will do just about anything. Frank just doesn't give two shits at this point. He doesn't actually care half the time if he lives or dies, just as long as the job gets done. But with that said, mindset's only going to get you so far. Frank and John are very similar. If we're looking at like John and his peak physicality, they're very similar in terms of peak physicality, but I feel like Frank is a bit more of the brute powerhouse compared to them. And he's probably got more actual hand-to-hand training being an actual Marine. Whereas, again, John, we don't know what he actually was as far as you know what? I can look that up right now. So, in a straight hand-to-hand fight, both of them will have their knives out, although I'll say John's is probably big. That's a knife right there. That's probably his knife's probably bigger. Okay, so here we go. Main protagonist of the film series and David Morrell novels, former Vietnam veteran, high skilled. He was a Green Beret. All right. Green Berets for breakfast. So yeah, he's Marine Green Beret, very, very skilled individuals in their own right, but at the same time, he's not. It's not one of those things where they're going to be. One's going to have the greater edge over the other significantly. I will say, though, that Punisher has the advantage, though, of coming from a comic book universe where there are superpowered beings that he also has to go up against. So ultimately, in the long haul, in the fight, they're tiring each other out. Ultimately, though, John Rambo, I think, is going to fall to the Punisher at Frank Castle, and I think that's due to the fact that he said just had more experience dealing with similar individuals and higher powered individuals. There's a comic series where Frank castle killed the Marvel Universe. There's several of those comic book series where Wolverine kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. There's many different, now that's not canon, mind you, but still, it shows that he is capable of knowing how to fight individuals and who are superpowered, not just people who are, skilled soldiers. And I think that experience really does come into play here when you're talking about someone like Rambo, who is still, by all accounts, just human, and something that who Punisher deals with on a daily basis, even if he is highly skilled. So the fight's ultimately going to come down to John probably stabs Frank, but his armor doesn't protect him. But he does stab, and Frank kind of just lets that happen as he just suddenly pulls like bear hugs Rambo, pulls the knife, just puts it right in his back, just looks Rambo straight in the freaking eye, and Rambo just twists the knife and just like severs his spine and all that. So, and it would be a realistic way Frank would finish the fight too. It'd be a brutal kill, like he just twist snap. So yeah, ultimately I go Punisher, I go to Frank, but you know what? I'm sure there's people who would give an argument for Rambo, and you know what? It's a fair argument. While Rambo certainly comes in here with some disadvantages in this fight, because he never comes into those fights armored. So I'm not going to just even the playing field by giving him armor. I got to make the fight how he normally is. He's still probably nearly as skilled, if not more skilled. Well, maybe not as skilled, but he's probably very similar in terms of skill-wise to Frank in many levels, including physicality, ability to use a firearm and multiple firearms, hand-to-hand combat, and traps and ability to use his environment to his advantage. I just think Frank's probably got the overall better experience and skill level that edged out Rambo. But I can't see a scenario where Rambo wins. I can't. I just think the majority goes to Punisher. But anyway, that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you agree or disagree, that's cool. We can all believe what we want. We're all friends here. We're all fans. So hit that bell if you want to be notified. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. I just got to do the what if, and I'm done for the day. Later, folks.